perhaps this could be the end of an era for Donkey Kong. The rare model that has basically been Donkey Kong's design for the last 20 or so years might finally be coming to an end. Maybe. On November 18th, 1994, Rare had released their own Donkey Kong game called Donkey Kong Country, which showed a redesigned Donkey Kong as well as the addition of his friend Diddy Kong. However, when this game was released, they were marketing Donkey Kong as a brand new character, and that's because technically he was, if you follow the Donkey Kong lore. Alright, honestly, that just sounds ridiculous. How could that possibly be the case when the original Donkey Kong game came out in 1981? He was already an established character. Well, of course, that is because the original Donkey Kong that was featured in the Donkey Kong game on the arcade in 1981 is actually Cranky Kong. Donkey Kong Jr. from the Donkey Kong Jr. game is actually Donkey Kong's father, which means the baby Donkey Kong Jr. from Mario Tennis that jumps into Donkey Kong's arms like a little baby is actually his father. Yeah, I'm not really sure how they explain that. I'm sure some retcons took place. I don't think in the Mario Tennis game the developers were deeply and intently thinking about the Donkey Kong lore. Which kind of begs the question, how old is Mario considering the fact that he's been fighting Donkey Kong all 3 generations? Does the Donkey Kong family just happen to age fast? Is Mario aging slower? Like, is he reverse aging? Who knows? None of this makes sense, and it really doesn't have to. We're here to talk about the potential death of the Donkey Kong design as we've known it for almost the last 20 years. And that is because earlier today, Nintendo shocked the world. Well, I mean, it wasn't really much of a shock because we've seen this Switch design for a couple months now. It's been leaked. But Nintendo shocked the world and they revealed a new Switch today, and in that trailer we got our first look at Mario Kart 9 or 10 or whatever you want to call it. And on the outset, the first thing that a lot of people noticed for this new Mario Kart trailer was new designs for all of the characters. We got new 3D models for Mario, and some other characters got some new designs as well. On the outset, what it looks like is that these new 3D models are a little bit more in line with some of that classic 2D art style from the Mario series. And the designs look okay. There hasn't really been that much shown about these games. We got a couple of frames, and of course everyone's going to analyze it. Mario definitely looks different. You can really see it in his face the most, but there's a couple of frames that got everyone talking, and if you look in the background, look at Donkey Kong. That is not the Donkey Kong that we know. This is probably the best look we're going to get out of it, but this is certainly a radical design shift for Donkey Kong. Now, I do have a couple of theories as to what this could possibly be, and I think it really boils down to 2 different things. The first thing that I noticed with this new Donkey Kong design is that it does look awfully similar to movie Donkey Kong. Now, this could be for a myriad of reasons. Perhaps they are trying to streamline the designs to make it match the movies a little bit more. Or you could consider this. Maybe they're also going to put movie character designs into the game as separate racers. When you look at the Switch 2 reveal trailer, if you look at the little starting white lines in the beginning, it seems like there's going to be slots for up to potentially 24 racers. Now, we don't know if this is true or not. This is just speculation on our end. But if there's going to be that many racer slots in the game, you would imagine there's going to be, at a bare minimum, 24 characters in the game, and probably a lot more, especially when you consider how much content Mario Kart 8 Deluxe gave us with those booster passes, and how much bigger they're going with the Switch 2 in terms of like the power upscaling. I think that they're going to go pretty big with the next Mario Kart game, and it's probably safe to say it's going to be the biggest one yet. I'm going to be honest, with all the content that we got in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's kind of hard to see how they're even going to top this, but I'm sure the first new console mainline Mario game in literally 11 years. We're not counting Deluxe because it's still Mario Kart 8. They're going to go pretty grand with this game. Like, so if you're going to put that many racers in the game, I mean, there's a couple things they could do, but one thing that I think they could do easily, and I think would win over a lot of fans, and it's pretty simple to do, is just include the movie characters into the game as separate racers. I'm going to be honest though, if there's one thing the next Mario Kart game could learn from Mario Kart Tour, you know, the mobile game that everyone kind of wrote off at first, but over the years has gotten pretty good, is they put a lot of skins and customization and racers in this game. Like, there are so many different characters in this version of Mario Kart. I can't imagine that the next Mario Kart game won't take advantage of all these models that they created, as well as just like giving players variety. It's going to be something that's going to extend the life cycle of the game. It's going to be an easy way to add content and things and challenges and stuff like that to do. In addition to adding a bunch of skins in the game, I could see them maybe adding movie variants of the characters. Although I wouldn't be too sure that they would do that because Nintendo is a weird company and they just do weird things. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just somehow launch the game with less racers in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's really like, who knows, man? I don't know. However,
However, we do have to consider the possibility that this may be the brand new Donkey Kong, and I really don't know how to feel about it, and I'm sure a lot of you probably feel the same way. There is also potentially more evidence that supports this theory that Donkey Kong is getting a full-blown redesign, and that isn't like some type of Mario Kart reskin, because there was recently a Donkey Kong 2026 calendar that was released, and it features the new design that kind of looks more in line with that classic Donkey Kong look that we saw before. It seems like Nintendo has completely redesigned him, and they could be potentially going back to the roots of the original Donkey Kong. And since I have you here, why don't we talk about that, because I like talking about character design. The original creation and character design of Donkey Kong was created by the great, legendary Shigeru Miyamoto. As you can see, over the years, he's undergone a lot of changes. This is his first design in the original 1981 Donkey Kong. During the development of Donkey Kong, Miyamoto said that he used Nintendo of America's ideas sometimes, but fought them when he thought he was right. He said, at the time, while I was making Donkey Kong, the conversations were all about how globalism is important and we should think worldwide, he said. We listened to a lot of Nintendo of America's opinions, but not all of them. For example, for the game's title, I was trying to convey the idea of quote-unquote stupid monkey. He said, donkey, of course, referred to the animal, but the dictionary I used said that it had a secondary meaning of idiot. Nintendo of America said that this was not the case, and donkey didn't mean idiot, even though it was in the dictionary, the interviewer said. So I'm not sure if that classic design necessarily conveys Miyamoto's vision, but one thing's for sure is that he kind of had this more cartoony and round design, and then eventually in 1994, there was a redesign for Donkey Kong, which is served as his model for the future. So during the development of Donkey Kong Country, we saw a redesign for Donkey Kong, which took a radical shift. He went from more chubby and round to a lot more of an athletic looking Donkey Kong. The character artist responsible for the redesign of Donkey Kong that you see to this current day is character artist Kevin Bayless, who worked with Rare, and he did this under the supervision of Miyamoto, who suggested giving Donkey Kong a red tie. Kevin Bayless said he wanted a character that looked believable and could perform animations like pounding his chest, which is actually pretty iconic for Donkey Kong. His initial design was blocky and muscular to make Donkey Kong easy to animate, but it became more cartoonish when Nintendo Facts reference material. Kevin Bayless previously worked on a game called Battletoads, and some of his design philosophies actually translated and made it over to the Donkey Kong Country game. Though over the years, Donkey Kong's design has seen a little bit of tweaking here and there, it largely remains the same. And Kevin Bayless said in an interview in 2015 that, "Today, it makes me smile to see so many products with DK in the front, and he's pretty much still the same as he looked when I gave him a once-over. So that's good enough for me. I must have done something right." So it's very possible that after the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal today and the reveal of the brand new Mario Kart game, that the Donkey Kong that we once knew may be gone forever. Now, like I said before, it could just be a one-off character reskin specifically for this Mario Kart, and the original Donkey Kong is still there. But as of right now, the internet is just speculating, but some of the evidence is pointing to the fact that this could be it. Maybe that Donkey Kong Country Returns remaster might have been our final hoorah, with the rare Donkey Kong design that we've come to know and love. Hard to imagine they would scrap such an iconic design after it's been used for so long, but let me know what you guys think about the new Donkey Kong design in Mario Kart 9 or 10 or whatever you want to call it down below in the comments.